Welcome to Module 3. In Module 3, I'm going to give you an introduction to paper text marketing. This is a form of paid traffic that almost nobody was talking about 2-3 years ago when I first started talking about it. It was commonly known first as inline text advertising, but I've coined the term paper text marketing for this form of paid traffic. So what is this all about? Well, paper text traffic, also known as inline text advertising, is basically what it says, inline text advertising, which means that content that you see on particular websites, you might have noticed certain words within an article are underlined, and anytime you take your mouse and you hover over that keyword, you see an ad. This is an example of a paper text ad, and it can work extremely well. This is still an underused form of advertising, and it can generate a significant amount of traffic if you start bidding on common keywords. Now, the way paper text ads work, it works the same way pay-per-click ads work in the sense that you only pay when your ad is clicked. So even if somebody takes their mouse and they hover over a keyword in an article and your ad appears, you don't actually get charged until they actually click on the ad. Okay? Now, this is a powerful form of traffic. There's a huge amount of inventory of this form of traffic on the various paper text networks, and there are some advertisers who are spending as much as $30,000 a day, according to some of my reps at some of these the networks. The nice thing about paper text ads, and one of the things that makes it very lucrative as opposed to other forms of paid traffic, is that the competition is still extremely low, and the bids are almost at minimum bid prices. And once again, this is because there's really nobody talking about paper text advertising. And in my experience of doing this for the last 3-4 years, I found that 1 to 2 word key phrases generate the most traffic. Now, just to kind of give you an idea of what a paper text ad is, here's an example by a network, infolinks.com, where you can be reading an article, and in the article you'll see a certain keyword that's underlined. And when you go to that, automatically it's human nature. The way users are conditioned online is that anytime they see something underlined, they automatically assume that it's a link. So when they go to this with their mouse and they hover over it, your ad is going to end up appearing. Okay, your ad is going to end up appearing, and then they'll have a choice to click on that ad and proceed to your advertisement, and that's only the time that you do get charged. With that being said, one of the tips that I can give you is be careful on what keyword or key phrases that you do bid on. Common terms such as home, people will automatically assume that will take the person to the home page of the website they're on, and they'll click on it so fast and not realize it's just an advertisement that you could get a lot of unqualified traffic. So just keep that in mind when you are choosing single keyword phrases or keyword phrases that are common for other things, such as a contact us link or privacy policy or disclaimer. If you end up bidding on these keywords, people are going to think they're actually going to, let's say, a privacy policy or disclaimer, and before they realize it's an advertisement, they've clicked on it and you've been charged. So make sure that the keywords that you are bidding are keywords that are not used commonly for other links. Now, there's generally just a handful of major players in the paper text marketing game, and those major players are traffic vans. You might have heard of me talk about them in Module 2 because they have a huge PPV platform, but in fact, according to my rep, the paper text side of it is, or they call it text links, is massive now with like I mentioned, advertisers spending much as $50,000 or $30,000 a day on text links. One of the newcomers is 50 on Red. They have a huge amount of inventory in the U.S. and outside the U.S. There's also infolinks.com, which is probably the best place to get started because their minimum bids are so low. Then there's Contera. Unfortunately, Contera does not have a self-serving platform. You do actually have to work with their optimization team at Contera. And I'll talk about some of the benefits and negatives of working with Contera. And finally, there's Vibrant Media, which is a massive company that has a massive reach and gives you a wide variety of different paper text ads that you can create. So let's talk about Traffic Vance. Traffic Vance, like I mentioned before, is one of the best PPV networks, but they also have a text link side to advertising where you can have your advertisement appear on a when anybody hovers over a particular keyword. And you can see here that they offer a variety of different type of advertisements. This is your typical text link ad. This is your billboard ad. And right here you have the text linked advertisement, which is, I mean, you have your billboard ad, which is your small little picture here. I don't remember the size of it. I think it's 90, something like 200 by 90. But then you also have a brand box ad, which is 125 by 125 ad. And I found that brand box ads usually work the best because you can write a little bit of text, yet at the same time display a graphic to grab the user's attention. And they also have a 300 by 250 simple graphic creator type ad where there's no text and you simply upload your 300 by 250 ad to Traffic Vance and get clicks on that. Unfortunately, Traffic Vance doesn't have any sort of split testing, so you can't really determine what ad is generating a better higher click-through rate. But in my experience, I have found that the brand box ad gets the best conversions. Okay, now one of the things to keep in mind about Traffic Vance is that their minimum bid for US paper text traffic is 15 cents. Okay, they do have an international platform, but their countries are limited. I think it's only Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and the UK. Those minimum bids are a lot lower. They're 8 cents per click, and you do have to open up a separate Traffic Vance account to access the international platform. Now, if you remember what I talked about in module number 2 is that one of the problems or the difficulties of getting into Traffic Vance is that you do need a referral and you do have to make a minimum deposit of $1,000. So the same thing goes as far as their text link side of things. You will have to make a $1,000 deposit and find a referral in order to start advertising on Traffic Vance. Now let's talk about 50 on Red. I really like these guys at 50 on Red because they have a significant amount of traffic that you can tap into. The one thing to keep in mind about 50 on Red is that you have to make a $500 deposit to start getting started. But this all goes towards your advertising spend. So don't worry about it's not like you're losing the money or it's not some sort of startup fee. You can actually start using that $500 to start buying traffic. And the way 50 on Red is set up, it's very similar to Traffic Vance in the sense that you can use text ads, you can use a combination of text and graphic ads, or you can use the standard 300 by 250 graphic ad. Now, the one thing that makes 50 on Red one of the best places to start as far as US traffic is concerned is that their bids only start at 10 cents for US traffic. And one of the things about 50 on Red is that they have a huge amount of international traffic in a wide variety of different countries. And you can get that traffic for as little as a penny. And I know that there are tons of affiliates who are destroying it in markets such as Brazil, Germany, or other markets where they're getting traffic for as little as a penny. If you're promoting, let's say, a CPA offer where the payout is 300, you think about it, you only need one conversion out of 300 visitors in order to break even. So if you can find the right CPA offer, generate a huge keyword list, then you can get a lot of traffic. The one thing I want you to keep in mind about paper text networks, and one of the nice things about running on traffic from paper text networks, is that there's no quality score issues. Okay, you don't have to worry about click-through rate issues or whether your ad meets a certain criteria. So literally, you could literally throw in 10,000 keywords into your single campaign and start running with that traffic. I mean, how relevant 10,000 keywords are going to be, you don't know, but sometimes you'll find that the weirdest keywords convert for that particular CPA offer. And I mean, like I said, since there is no quality scores, there's no relevancy issues, you can literally bid on any sort of keyword and send that traffic to whatever CPA offer that you're promoting. And with traffic as cheap as a penny on 50 on Red, it's one of the best places to start generating paid traffic to CPA offers. And I know that there's just speaking with some of my reps at the network, that there's some affiliates who are simply destroying it with just bidding on 3 or 4 keywords because there's so much volume for those keywords. Because remember, you're bidding on text that appears within articles. So technically or theoretically, you could bid on words, or you could bid on every letter of the alphabet. You could bid on the word the. You could bid on the word download. You could bid on the word home even if you wanted. I mean, if you had some sort of offer where people are thinking they're going to the homepage of a website, but if you have an offer that converts, to a mass audience, it might actually work well for you that that people are clicking on that, or you're bidding on that particular keyword. Infolinks.com. I am a huge fan of Infolinks.com, and the reason is really quite simple. I mean, number one, you only need about $25 to get started with Infolinks, and the thing I like about Infolinks that makes it very lucrative, and probably, in my opinion, the best place to start doing inline text advertising is that their minimum bids start at 2 cents. Okay, and that's even for U.S. traffic. Their minimum bids start at 2 cents. So you can go in there and you can start, dumping in 50,000 keywords if you want it for a particular campaign, and start getting traffic for as little as 2 cents. And anytime you're promoting, I have found anytime that I'm promoting a CPA offer that pays $30, $40, you can literally burn through 500 clicks, 1,000 clicks without a conversion, and still not be even at half the value of that lead. So Infolinks is definitely a good place to get started, and I highly recommend it. Now, the one thing about Infolinks is that you can only use text ads. You can't use any graphic ads, because they're basically using the same platform that powers pay-per-click search engines such as looksmart.com, bidforkeywords.com. So that platform is limited in the sense that you can't use any graphics in your ads. It's basically your ad looks like a pay-per-click ad. It's got a headline, it's got a description, and it's got a display URL. But the one thing about Infolinks that gives it an advantage over the other paper text networks is that you can split test. You can actually have two ads competing against each other and determine what ad is getting the higher click-through rate. And if you can improve that ad over time, that will help generate a higher click-through rate for you and more clicks to whatever CPA offer that you're promoting. The other thing about Infolinks is that they do have a large inventory of international traffic, and usually with the international traffic, that's where you can go out and you can get the traffic for as little as 2 cents. So I highly recommend that. Probably the best place to start doing paper text advertising is on Infolinks.com. You just simply go there, and it's the most cost affordable too, because you don't need to put $1,000 that you would at Traffic Vance. You don't need to put $500 down that you're going to need to put down at 50 on Red. And with Infolinks, you can easily get started. The one thing to remember about 50 on Red, there's a couple of hoops that you have to jump through. I think I had to send in a photocopy of my driver's license, and it was either my driver's license or my passport. So the verification process is a little bit more stringent. So just keep that in mind when it comes to 50 on Red. Like I said, Infolinks minimum bids start at 2 cents, and the other thing about Infolinks that makes it a good place to start is that basically you can. Most of these networks, maybe except Traffic Vance, is an aggregation of partner networks. What they do is they have publisher websites who basically carry these ads on their website. So basically they install a little bit of code on their website, and what that code does is it highlights certain keywords in the content on publishers' websites, and anytime somebody clicks on that ad, the network splits the revenue of that click between the publisher and the advertiser. So anytime you have an aggregation of thousands of publishers, there's an opportunity for fraud. Obviously, if you've done any sort of pay-per-click advertising on second-tier search engines, it happens. There's always people who are trying to defraud the system. And I know this because I've read lots of articles about companies and full-blown corporations that have been completely set up in Africa and India, and all their job is to click on ads and defraud advertisers, and as publishers keep half the commission. It's a very sophisticated ring where they're rotating IP addresses, trying to stay under the radar in order to continue making money as a publisher. So what Infolinks does is, because they're running sort of on the same platform as looksmart.com, you can actually, if you're using a sophisticated tracking system, you can actually pass the partner ID of where the click was generated. What was the partner ID that generated the click? And pretty soon you'll see a pattern of what partner IDs are generating clicks, but they're not generating conversions. And you can actually email Infolinks.com support team and you can request to have the poor performing partners blocked. And that can go a long way towards helping you make certain campaigns profitable by eliminating some of the fraudulent traffic and some of the fraudulent partners. Let's talk about Conterra. Conterra has been around for a very, very long time. They're one of the very first inline text advertising companies. And once again, you can see here there is a opportunity for advertisers to sign up, which would be yourself looking to buy paid traffic, and then there's once again the publishers who carry these ads on their websites. Now, with Conterra, they're a bit different than other inline text advertising companies in the sense that it's not a self-serving platform. It's not like you can set up a campaign and start doing things on your own. When I signed up with Conterra, I literally had to go through their traffic team. I had to submit my ad to them. I had to submit my keywords to them, and they would basically do all the setup for me. And the other thing I found about Conterra was that it was pretty expensive to initially start running traffic with them. I think at one point I was promoting a free scholarship offer with them, and they wanted a free education guide with them, and they wanted a minimum bid of at least 75 cents a click. So with running traffic with Conterra, my experience was I was only able to break even. I mean, if you're going to be selling your own product or service where you have a lucrative backend, then it would make sense to use a place like Conterra. But if you prefer to be left alone, to be able to do your own sort of self-serving optimization, setting up your own campaigns, then really I would stick with the other networks, because Conterra is probably not a good place to start advertising with if you don't want to deal with people. And last but not least is Vibrant Media. Vibrant Media has been around for a very, very long time. They don't openly advertise their paper text program, and I think it's the reason is they basically deal a lot with more corporate-y type advertisers. Meaning, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't advertise with them, but they offer a whole variety of different type of advertisements. I mean, they offer video ads, they offer flash ads, they offer brand box freeform ads, billboard ads, static ads, and your traditional text ads. So when it comes to the difference in creatives, they offer a wide variety of different creatives that you can create using Vibrant Media's format. But once again, I don't think it's a self-serving platform at Vibrant Media. You actually do have to contact them and work with a rep to get a campaign set up. And I don't think they're looking to work with small affiliates. So I think if you have a reasonably sized big budget, then they will take you a little bit more seriously, and you can start advertising using on Vibrant Media's publisher websites. So some of the tips that I can give you based on my experience of doing this for the last 4 or 5 years, my suggestion is that graphics almost always outperform the typical text ads. Okay, and the reason for that is, number one, when somebody hovers their mouse over a keyword on a publisher website, as soon as your ad pops up, it's the graphics that's going to grab their attention. It's not going to be the text ad. And with a graphic, I mean, it's similar to the same thing on Facebook. If you've ever done any paid advertising on Facebook, it's always the image ad that is the focus of the ad, and the number one thing that you want to continually improve in the ad, because that's the thing that grabs the reader's attention. And I found that with paper text ads, the graphic ads always generally got a higher click-through rate than the text ads. But with that being said, the type of ad called a brand box, which is a combination of a text ad and a graphic ad, in my opinion, it might have not got the highest click-through rate, but it did generate the best conversion rate. And I think it's because, number one, with the text part of the ad, you have the ability to pre-qualify the prospect by writing a good, compelling headline and then writing a good description. And yet at the same time, you can complement that text ad with a relevant image that grabs the prospect's attention. And I found that combination, that anytime somebody clicks on that generated a higher conversion rate than any of the other ads. But really, it all comes down to testing. I mean, it's all different for different markets, for different keywords, for different CPA offers. Even though Traffic Advance doesn't offer a split testing ability, you might want to run one ad for a day and then another ad for another day and see which one generates the higher click-through rate. Because Traffic Advance or 50 on Red will tell you I'm not sure about 50 on red, but Traffic Vance I know will tell you how many impressions were generated by your advertisement, and also tell you what the click-through rate was. Okay. Now, what I mentioned before, and this is a tip that came from a pay-per-click formula customer of mine at my last seminar, pay-per-click formula seminar in 2009. He suggested that if you want to get the most out of paper text traffic, you want to test it, you want to scale it up and generate a huge amount of CPA commissions, that when you're bidding on, you're dumping in 10 to 15 to 20,000 keywords into a single campaign. Number one, 15 to 20,000 keywords, there's no way possible that you can say that all 20 to 15,000 keywords are going to be relevant to whatever is being promoted. Okay, it's just very, very hard to find 15 to 20,000 relevant keywords for a particular CPA offer. And one of the things that I mentioned is that generally one word or two word key phrases work best. I've noticed that anytime you get into anything like 3-word key phrases or above that, generally you're not going to get very many impressions, and you're not going to get very many clicks. It's going to come from the 1-word keywords. It's going to come from the 2-word key phrases. Obviously, the 2-word key phrases are a little bit more qualified than the 1-word key phrase, but the 1-word key phrases, man, can they ever bring in a serious amount of traffic. So what this member, and this was during a session at the seminar, I asked people to come to the microphone and give their best suggestion on when it comes to paid traffic and pay-per-click, pay-per-text traffic. And what he suggested was that, yeah, you could throw in, let's say, 50,000 keywords, knowing very well that maybe 45,000 of those keywords aren't very relevant to whatever you're promoting. But if you write your ads in a very precise manner, so that you only you're specific to who you're targeting, so that you can qualify the ad and make it very, very qualified, that can possibly pre-qualify the advertiser and help raise your conversion rate. But like I said, be very, very careful that you avoid keywords that are common under or hyperlinked keywords on a typical page, such as contact us or home or sitemap or disclaimer, because these keywords, people, like I said, on the internet are preconditioned to believe that they're going to actually go to a disclaimer page or a contact us link, and they're there's a lag. You got to understand that when their mouse hovers over the keyword, there might be half a millisecond or a half a second delay before your ad pops up, because the system is like Infolinks or Traffic Vance, or they're trying to figure out the keyword, they're trying to return the most relevant ad that's being bidded on at the time to the prospect. So there's going to be a slight delay. So if somebody automatically assumes that hyperlinked ad and they're preconditioned to believe that it's going to take them to a web page or take them somewhere, they might even click on it before they've been even given the opportunity to see your ad. So just be, like I said, be careful about the keywords that you bid on, because you can easily get burned on single word keywords. And basically the reason why I'm harping on this, or I'm trying to stress on this, is because I've been burned. I mean, at one time I was promoting a home improvement offer, and it didn't dawn on me when I started bidding on the keyword home that when people were seeing that on the pages, they were thinking that they were going to the home page of the publisher website, and that they weren't seeing the home improvement ad that I was popping up, and they were just automatically preconditioned to just click on the keyword even before the ad appears, and that ended up costing me a lot of money. The other thing to keep in mind is that, like I said, there's no quality scores on most of these networks. One tip that I can give with Infolinks is basically it's all or none. And what I mean by that is that if you're not in the first position for whatever the keywords that you're bidding on, your ad is never going to be shown. Okay, they actually give 100% of the ad inventory to the advertiser who has the highest bid for that particular keyword. Okay. I'm not quite sure what 50 on red's breakdown is, but you don't have to be in the number one position. It's not all or none. I think they do give, obviously they give the top guy most of the traffic, but they also do give trickles of traffic to the second, third, fourth guy. Same thing with Traffic Vance. But like I said, being in the number one position will make sure that you're getting 100% of the inventory on Infolinks, and the bulk of the inventory on let's say a Traffic Vance or a 50 on red. So definitely also keep that in mind. The other thing that I found about using pay-per-text advertising is that a lot of CPA networks don't consider it to be pay-per-click advertising, even though you're paying on a per-click basis, because it's not really search advertising. It's not people who are actively looking for what you're promoting. So in a lot of ways, it generally falls under display advertising. So you're going to see a lot of CPA offers on the networks that only allow display advertising. So you can actually go and start advertising that particular CPA offer, even though it does say display advertising, because these are display ads that are appearing when you hover over the keywords. And anytime that I've spoken to any of my affiliate managers on the networks, they've also agreed with me that they also consider it to be display advertising and not pay-per-click advertising or search advertising. So that does give you the ability to start promoting CPA offers that only allow display advertising, whereas you would not have ever been able to have promoted that offer had you only been sending, let's say, pay-per-view traffic or per pay-per-click traffic. So that gives you an advantage in that regard. So I highly recommend that you do get started with paper text ads. I've also found that it's excellent for building a list. If you send all of the traffic to a squeeze page, that can also generate a significant amount of opt-ins. So my opinion is the number one place to start is infolinks.com, because they have the least amount of barriers. Then I would move on to 50 on Red when you got $500 to start spending, and then I would move on to Traffic Vance if you can get a referral and you have $1,000 to deposit. And the other reason why I recommend that you go through those three in that particular order is that, once again, infolinks.com has the cheapest bids. Also, it's only 2 cents per click. 50 on Red is 10 cents for U.S. traffic, a penny for international, and then there's Traffic Vance that the minimum bid is 15 cents for U.S. traffic. I mean, it's a bit pricey on Traffic Vance, but Traffic Vance's traffic quality is excellent. It is very good, so it's hard not to ignore that traffic source. So I would go with those three traffic sources, and I think that once you have a successful campaign, you know what keywords are generating your biggest conversions and your best conversions, then you can move to a platform like Vibrant Media or Conteria, where it's not self-serving platform, where it's a team on their side basically running the campaign for you. At least you'll know what keywords are converting for the offer that you're promoting, and you can pass that on to them rather than them having to test and track and you have to eliminate keywords and having to go back and forth. You'll have a proven campaign once you get it profitable on Infolinks, 50 on Red, or Traffic Vance. And I found that generally keywords that work well on one network will work well on another network. So because it's all inline text advertising, the ads are appearing the same way on all of these networks. I mean, 50 on Red is an aggregation of publisher websites. Traffic Vance is obviously they're not the same as Infolinks or 50 on Red, in the sense that their user base is generated from their Game Vance application. So I mean, with that being said, I've noticed that you're going to see less fraud with Traffic Vance traffic than any of the other paper text networks. So that really wraps up module 3. I have also included a PDF that lists the PPT networks on the right hand side of this video that you can download, that save that to your computer, go to those sources, create an account, and start running some paid traffic to CPA offers.